Hey everybody, Tosan here with a Marksmanship Hunter guide. This is going to be a quick overview of like general marksmanship gameplay that you need to know, especially in PvP settings. And I'm going to first go over just how you deal your damage and how you should be, optimizing your burst and all that in PvP, but also some tips regarding our CC that you may need to know because it's stuff that's not totally obvious at first. So, as far as damage goes, let's just get right into the damage stuff. So your opener is usually going to be Wind Burst because, for one, this doesn't require the target being marked or vulnerable or anything like that. It hits hard as hell, and it's your hardest hitting ability, in fact, and it also casts really quickly, faster than your aim shots. So, although it has a 20-second cooldown that's reasonably short, this is how you typically start your burst off. So it's going to be Wind Burst into aim shots, 2 aim shots typically, assuming you're not interrupted in any way. So Wind Burst, 2 aim shots, then Sidewinders, then 1 or 2 more aim shots, depending on the situation, and then Marked Shot, assuming you got a proc from that first Sidewinder, and then kind of rinse repeat after that. Pretty much every time you refresh the vulnerability debuff, you're going to cast some aim shots. Now remember, Marked Shot does benefit from the Patient Sniper Deadeye debuff. So when the target is vulnerable, you don't want that vulnerability to fall off before you get the aim shot, ideally, or Marked Shot, because your Marked Shot is going to do a lot of damage as well. It hits pretty freaking hard. So I think a lot of people will possibly make the mistake of letting the vulnerability debuff fall off and then Marked Shotting to refresh it. But ideally, you'd like to hit it right before it falls off. So let me go into a burst sequence. So I'm not going to use True Shot because that'll just speed things up unnecessarily. But here's how you're going to want to open. Assuming you're about to CC the healer, Wind Burst first. It's going to make him vulnerable. Then Aim Shot at least twice. Sometimes you can get away with 3 times, as you can see. Then you Sidewinder, and it gave me a Marked Shot proc. So watch the vulnerable. Right before vulnerable falls off, aim shot into Marked Shot, getting max damage. Then you're going to Sidewinder again for more focus. Another 2 aim shots into a Marked Shot before it falls off, and you're getting max damage this way. Now, sometimes you'll refresh vulnerable with a Marked Shot, but then you'll be out of focus. Don't worry about refreshing vulnerable right away. That's totally fine. If you need focus, don't be afraid to press Sidewinder just to get focus back. You don't need to be totally efficient with the debuff. So as you can see, I'm just going to keep casting aim shots, and then I'm going to Marked Shot at the end here. And then I'm out of focus, so I'm going to Sidewinder. Even though that refreshes, and it may seem like you're wasting seconds on vulnerable, if you have no focus, you can't make use of the vulnerable debuff anyway. So Sidewinder when you need focus regardless, or just to mark the target. So that's your general burst. It's very simple. Now, in Arena, like I said, typically you're going to CC first and start your chain. It's ideal to CC the healer and then pop True Shot into Wind Burst into aim shots like crazy. And then when you're getting low on focus, you want to Sidewinder and then, do that whole rotation. Now, that's your general burst. That's pretty easy. So, another thing that I want you to know that is not really obvious and intuitive at first is your bursting shot is obviously like a scatter shot. It's a disorient. Just so you know, this is on the diminishing returns table shared with blinds and fears and cyclone. So blind, fear, cyclone, and all that DRs with bursting shot. Okay? And scatter shot, although they're both disorients and it seems obvious, I used to initially think, scatter shot clearly is going to diminish with bursting shot as well, right? Wrong. They changed it. Even though they both have the same kind of text and they both are labeled as disorients, Scattershot is actually on the Poly, Sap, Trap, Diminishing Returns table, the Incapacitate Diminishing Returns table. So, Polymorph, Hex, Freezing Arrow, Survival Traps, Sap, and Paralysis from Windwalk Amongst, stuff like that. Scatter actually DRs with that. So these are the same Diminishing Returns table. It takes a while to get used to because we're used to Scatter being a disorient instead of an incapacitate. But this is now an incapacitate, even though it says disorient. Just want to make that clear, and it's probably going to take you some time to get used to that. So, the cool thing is, with Scatter Shot, you can do a bursting shot for 4 seconds into a scatter shot for 4 seconds. And that's an 8-second CC chain that's all instant cast. And Freezing Arrow is a 30-second cooldown, and Scatter's a 20-second cooldown. So, Freezing Arrow is, of course, 8 seconds instead of 4 seconds. Now, it might seem like Freezing Arrow is the obvious best choice because it's double the duration, but there are pros and cons to both. So, the pros and cons, I will make this in a separate talent guide, by the way. I'm going to go in depth on talents separately, but as far as your general hunter playstyle, I wanted to inform you about this because it's very important to your general play. Freezing Arrow breaks from Sidewinder and Marked Shot. Scatter and Bursting Shot do not break when you hit them with Sidewinder or Marked Shot. Now, any other direct damage will break it. I think Barrage will still break it too. So I think Sidewinder and Marked Shot are the only things that won't break Scatter and Bursting Shot. So this is really important because, you're worried about breaking your own CC. We have to take Sidewinders because it's so good. And you might CC the healer and have to tag the healer with a Sidewinder. And you're like, man, I don't want to break my CC, but I need to do damage. So don't worry about it. I'll show you right here. Put it on focus. This target dummy's on focus. I'm going to Bursting Shot, but I'm targeting this one. Sidewinder will not break it. And same with Scatter Shot. But Freezing Arrow will break from all these, so it's a lot more risky to play Freezing Arrow. So just keep that in mind. Basically, against teams that stack up a lot, I prefer to take Scatter Shot. Even though it is a shorter CC, oftentimes that short CC chain is all you need, especially if your teammates are CCing with you. So I'll do a Bursting Shot into a Scatter Shot, and it doesn't hinder my damage because my AoEs will not break it. Besides Barrage, which probably will. I haven't tested it, but I assume Barrage will break it. Could be wrong, though. Actually, I can test it. Why not? Let's just test it right here, derp. So let's see. This is still on focus. I'm going to Bursting Shot, and I'm going to Barrage. Okay, Barrage does break your Disorients. So Crows is usually better in Arena anyway. So just keep in mind, the only thing that won't break your Scatter and Bursting Shot is Sidewinders and Marked Shot. So even if you Marked Shot with your Bursting Shot up, watch, I'm going to show you, you can hit not just Sidewinder, but Marked Shot. So don't worry, it's not going to fuck with your damage rotation. Check it out. Bursting Shot, Sidewinder, Marked Shot will hit the target too, and it doesn't break at all. And Scatter and this, although they're separate diminishing returns, they both function the same in that regard. So that's it for this guide. I just wanted to give a rundown on your general damage rotation and the functionality of our CC, which has changed because the old Scatter Shot was not on the same DR as traps and stuff like that. So, hope this is useful for you guys, all you marksmen up-and-comers out there. Thanks for watching, and peace out. My last video was a marksmanship artifact guide as well, so if you're curious about the path you should take on your artifact weapon, don't forget to check that one out. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.